Hey guys, I'm so glad you could join us today. I am Brandon Baskett. I am the president and founder of Seeds of Wisdom Incorporated. We are a nonprofit organization that mentors young men in middle school and high school. And one thing we promote to our kids is the acronym IDEA, IDEA, which stands for Integrity, Discipline, Education, and Ambition. And so today I have a special guest with us who has agreed to do this interview, and I'm so glad we could have him. And he's going to talk about his experiences with these core values of integrity, discipline, education, and ambition. So, Mr. Littlejohn, if you would you go ahead and introduce yourself for the audience?
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Maurice Littlejohn. I'm a senior package engineer for a company called Diversity. Married with two kids and a first generation college student.
Yeah, I'm also a first generation college student too. And so just to even talk more about that, like guys, if you're the first in your immediate family who will go to college, that's a big thing. And that's something that we can support you with. And there are a lot of resources out there for first generation college students, and also a lot of finances and support for tuition. So college is possible. So don't think that if no one in your immediate family has ever gone, like if your parents haven't gone, maybe your grandparents haven't gone, it's okay. You can be the first, and there's a lot of support out there for people to do that. And so we're going to talk about our first core value, which is integrity. And the way we describe that to our young men that we mentor, and speaking of mentoring, we meet twice per month with our mentees on Saturdays. Before the pandemic, we were doing Saturdays in person for about 2 hours, just so we could chat, talk about things that are going on in our lives, learn how to better navigate them. And we'd also do some fun and some social events every once in a while. Through the pandemic, that was kind of more virtual. And then we finally getting back into the in-person meeting. But when we do have them, we're talking about integrity. And we define that as doing the right thing when no one is watching. So you're doing it because you know it's the right thing to do. So will you talk more about your perspective of integrity and maybe how that surfaces in your personal life and in your career?
Yes. So, just to hit on what you said about integrity, doing the right thing when no one's watching. So that's very key in everything you do, whether it be sports related, school related, and just life in general, because there's always someone that's watching you when you think there's no one watching you. And I've learned that in my professional career, being in my background, I'm a packaging engineer. So there are not a lot of minorities that are in the packaging engineering field. So I always know that I had to always be on my game at all time from an integrity standpoint, always following through on everything that I've been asked to do, because unfortunately, when you are a minority in the industry like mine, you're under the microscope. So having integrity is key, because when people see that you're willing to do the right things, the hard things, the minuscule things that no one likes to do, you get a lot of respect out of it. So integrity is very key. And also, I'm married with two kids, being the man of the household, a man of faith. Leading my kids. My kids look at me as an example of what a father is supposed to be. What a husband is supposed to be to his wife. So all those things go hand in hand from an integrity standpoint. So always look to do the right thing when no one's watching, because there's always someone watching. It may be for a second, 2 seconds, a minute, any amount of time, but there's always someone watching. So you should always be a person of integrity.
Man, that's so good. And I even think about the fact that when you said people are always going to be watching, like you're an example to people, whether you know it or not. You're either an example for negative things that people say, oh, he does this and I want to do that, or you're an example for positive things and people want to model their behavior and their actions after you. And so recently we had a social event with our guys. We went to Frankie's Fun Park here in Columbia, South Carolina. And I thought it was funny, but it was ironic because I was talking to them about integrity. I said, hey, I always use this example anyway. I'm like, if you see somebody drop some money, you watch them drop it, you know that money belongs to them. You don't just keep it. You don't do the old, I'm going to go over there, put my foot on top of it, and I'm going to get it when nobody's looking, right? So you already know that's not the right thing to do, because you got to cover it up with your foot, right? Yeah. But I gave that example before we got ready to go play the games and do the miniature golf and all that good stuff. We go outside. I'm with a couple of our boys. We're on the miniature golf course, and we go to the next hole. This gentleman comes up and says, hey, somebody's going to buy me a whole lot of pizza. One of my guys dropped their wallet. And so the fact that I gave them that example and then it actually happened tells you, like, guys, this is a real thing. That man could have easily kept a little kid's wallet and decided, man, I'm gonna take this extra 20 or 30, whatever, however much money he had in his wallet, and I'm gonna use it to do what I want to do with it. But he knew that we were the ones who were at that previous hole, and he saw us and he brought us the wallet. And so, like, I just love the fact that I hate that it happened because my mentee dropped his wallet, but I loved it as an example to show, like, hey, guys, this does happen in real life. There are people with integrity, regardless of what you may see on social media, in the news, that you might see in your school, in your neighborhood, or whatever. People are they're still good people.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that. And I love what you talked about with being a husband and a father too, and being an example in your household, because it definitely starts with, especially guys who are watching this right now. If you have siblings who are younger than you and they're watching you, they're seeing what you're doing. They're seeing how you do things in school, how you respond to your parents, your grandparents, how you talk, the way you talk to them. So people are always watching. And that's not to be fearful, but you just want to think about, like, I want to set a good example for the young man that I am, and the man that I want to be. And so
that can also be said with your classmates, your fellow peers. You may not know, but you may be a role model to your fellow peers. So
true.
So whatever you're doing, someone could be modeling themselves after what you're doing just because they look up to you. So if they see you doing the right things, they're going to do the right things. So always know that the camera's always rolling. The camera's always rolling on your life and anything you do. So always make sure that first take, when you're doing anything, like with a movie, you have camera action. Always make sure that first take is your best take, because sometimes you don't get a second take. You don't get a do-over. So always make sure that whatever you're doing in life, that you're putting your best foot forward and being very intentional, have great integrity in everything you're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome, because when you go into a classroom for the first time, you never met that teacher before, the way you behave that first day of class sets a tone for what they believe, how they believe you're going to behave in their class, and how they believe you're going to perform academically, right? And even your peers that you may not know, if they see that you're someone who is engaged in class, you're participating, you're asking questions, like, they know, like, man, that dude knows what he's talking about, or he's a good student. I know he plays sports, but he's also a good student too in the classroom. So that's a really good example. So thank you for sharing that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so our next core value is discipline, right? So we have the acronym IDEA. And one thing before we get to discipline, guys, if you're not taking notes right now, like, find some kind of way to take notes, whether that's on paper, whether that's in your tablet or something, or your phone. But like, when you hear something that, like, really sticks out to you, really resonates with you, jot it down, because we have some great speakers this year. I'm so happy to have all these guys that we have with us this year. And they have something that they've learned. When we talk about seeds of wisdom, we're giving you some of these, we're planting these seeds from experiences that we've had in life. And we've gone through these things. So we're giving you, like, the cheat code. Y'all play video games. Sometimes you want to use a cheat code to get past a particular level, right? When I was a kid, we used to have to go to the grocery store and look in the magazine in the reading section and try to get the cheat code, right? And you kind of write it down so you can take it home. Now, that wasn't integrity, because we knew we were doing the wrong thing. but that's like that cheat code to, like, get to that next level, or to get the extra package of, y'all to play 2K right now. Y'all want to get the VC credits or whatever it's called. So yeah, man, but take some notes. But discipline, let's talk about that. So with discipline, we're basically telling our mentees, like, this is a way to overcome and avoid distractions and temptations, because they are out there, especially as a young man. There's distractions on social media, things that you could see and get hooked into, things that people try to give to you in person and try to make you try, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or whatever. There are some things that could really derail your life course. So Maurice, what would you talk to? How would you explain that to our boys based on your experiences with discipline, self-discipline?
Yeah, so I'll say, self-discipline for me is, like I said, that, it's kind of, so if you've seen the movie The Matrix, you take the red or the blue pill, it's like you have the choice of always doing the right thing, because like Brandon said, you're going to have temptations out there in anything you do. And people will put you in compromising situations just to see, what are you going to do? Are you going to make the right decision, or are you going to make the wrong decision? That can be from the standpoint of you know, getting in the car with someone on a Friday night, um, after they've been doing, you know, might have been drinking or drugs or anything like that, are you going to make the right decision to be disciplined enough to say this is not a good situation? I don't need to get in this car. I don't need to hang out with this person, but I probably need to help this person. I probably need to talk to this person. Like, hey, you're making the wrong decision. So that's what discipline for me is, like just being disciplined in everything you do. It can, from your standpoint of your craft. If you guys out here playing sports right now, you're being disciplined in your craft because there's certain movements you got to make on the field, on the court. You know, certain training things you got to do. So it's like you're training. You're always constantly training. So that's what when you think of discipline, you want to be disciplined in whatever you're doing to be the best that you can in whatever, you know, in whatever field you're trying to dominate. So, you know, just being disciplined, just making the right decisions, always making the right decisions, never letting someone dictate your life. People, you know, don't let someone write your story. You write your own story by being disciplined in everything you do. Because, like I said, you know, as Brandon said, there's going to be temptations of, you know, drugs, alcohol, you know, women. It's peer pressure. You know, life is full of peer pressure. You know, and you don't want to fall in a situation that you cannot come back from. You know, you want to be able to make disciplined, sound decisions that's going to help advance your life and not cause your life to regress.
Yeah, so true. And so for those who don't know, my profession, I'm an educator. So I work in a school district and I'm an administrator in a school district. And so I've been in the school administration and I'm now in district administration. And I've seen a lot of different things over the years with young men who make certain decisions and they know better, they're capable of more, but you can really get caught up in some things that you have no business being caught up in. And, you know, one of the things that disappoints me the most and bothers me the most is when I see one of them in the news for something and some serious charges. Recently, I'm thinking of one who was charged with murder in a particular county that I used to work in. And it just, when I knew him when he was a ninth grader, you know, those are things you don't technically see, you don't really see in them at maybe, because I mean, I remember him being 14 years old and now seeing him at 21, 22, it's like that wasn't, you had more purpose in your life than to be caught up in that life. But when you think of things that you feel like you just have to do and make quick money, or to be around people you feel like are cool, and then they don't value education, which is one of our core values we're going to talk about next. You don't value education. Education has delayed gratification attached to it. You don't get the results you want immediately, right? I'm working on a doctorate degree. I got a year left, right? It's going to take me about 3 years altogether. You don't get the reward of that immediately. It takes time, but when you get to it, it's something that I'm going to have the rest of my life. And what I get to do is all that knowledge that I've acquired, I can use that to help serve the families and the students that I serve for my career. And it's going to make me even better to run Seeds of Wisdom. So discipline, it can be very small. It can be as simple as waking up on time, right? I'm still improving in that area. And I'm 31 years old. I'm still improving in the area of exercise, right? And so there's a lot of different things in life that you have to focus on with discipline to improve and to get better. And it's not that when you get to a certain age, you've arrived and you no longer have to think about discipline. This is an ongoing thing. This is a lifelong thing. You have to be disciplined in some areas. So we just want to share those things with y'all. And we're going to talk about education next. So what I like to focus on with education with our mentees when we have our sessions and we reach out to them individually, I always tell them education, you need to be self-motivated. This is not about your parents. This is not about your teachers. Now, sure, you might want to you might want to make your parents proud, right? They might have a certain level of expectation for you, and that's great. But they don't go sit in that classroom with you. Maybe they might come visit one time or two if you're not acting right in class. But overall, you go to class every day. You turn in assignments with your name on it, right? When I was an English teacher, I was a high school English teacher. Students would turn in work. I'm telling you, I'm like, look, I don't give you a grade. I record the grade you earn based on the rubric, right? So education is bigger than just, oh, I got to do this because my teacher wants me to do this, or my mom or dad wants me to do this. So, Maurice, what has education meant to you in your life? And then maybe what's something you share with your kids about education and how y'all value it?
Yeah. So with education, I mean, I grew up on the farm. The first 12 years of my life, I grew up on the farm, and you know, before Yeah, I was always a good student growing up, but I thought that was going to be my life, was just being on the farm and possibly going to the military, because I didn't see a whole lot of examples of people from an education standpoint furthering their life. And it came to a time. It was a program called Upward Bound that's similar to this program that, you know, they took time to invest in my life, to show me that there was more out there than just what I saw. I had the opportunity to visit college campuses, visit different cities, just to see that there was more outside of Little Africa, South Carolina, where I grew up at, before moving to Spartanburg, South Carolina. So I was able to travel to different places and learn, and see that, you know, from an education standpoint, that, you know, if I get an education, I can forward my life. I don't have to be stuck where I am. You know, and you know, just going through high school and continuing to do well in high school, and, you know, actually becoming Mr. The most intellectual, you know, while I was in high school, and then going on to Clemson University. So education has been a vehicle that's taken me places, you know, that I didn't think was possible. You know, I never envisioned myself going out of the country, visiting, you know, Germany and Amsterdam and France, you know, Paris, France, things like that. I never saw that growing up, because, you know, from an education standpoint, I thought I was just going to be, you know, stay on the farm, you know, get an education and go in the military. So education is very key to what you want to do in life. You know, sports is great. Playing sports is great. My son, he plays sports. He plays basketball, but I always tell him he has to be a student athlete, because one day that football is not going to be there and that ball is going to start dribbling. So you got to have that education. You got to have that firm foundation of education, um, because that's something that, you know, can't be taken away from you. Like I said, when I first introduced myself, I'm a first generation college student. So my parents, they didn't go to college. They didn't, well, they, you know, my father, he went to college for, you know, maybe a year or two, but he didn't finish. My mother, she didn't go to college. So there were not a lot of examples to model and say, hey, this is what you can do with your life. You know, so I had to, in today's term, get it out the mud. You know, I had to go and get it. You know, I had to be self-motivated and say, okay, there's more out here in life than what I see in front of me. And so getting an education, you know, doing well in school, going off to college, doing well in college, and going to the professional world, you know, that was all because the time that I put into education. You know, so don't ever discount where you are from an education standpoint. You may not take AP classes or honor classes, but be great where you are from an education standpoint, and just let it keep working for you and see where it's going to take you. You know, don't ever feel like education is not important. It's always important. You're always going to be learning. There's always something you can learn, a book you can read, or a person you can glean from. Talking with Brandon, talking with people like myself and other panelists. You know, try to glean what we're giving to you from an education standpoint to see where it can take you in life.
Yeah, man, so true. And the thing is, you got to have patience. So when I said delayed gratification, you might have to write that down. Delayed gratification. So you can get what you want eventually. It's just going to take some time. And for those of y'all who play sports, you don't typically pick up. I love basketball, so I'm going to use basketball as an example. You don't typically go pick up a basketball and can handle it with both hands, can shoot free throws and jump shots, and you can make, you know, layups at a high percentage. It takes time and practice and discipline. So you look at guys like, you know, the best of the best. And right now I'm watching the playoffs, right? They got Kevin Durant had a historic game. And so you think about that, he didn't just wake up and become Kevin Durant that we know today. He had to put in hours and hours and thousands of hours of time and discipline and work to get to that point, right? So just same thing, things that you want. We don't live in an Instagram society.
No,
Everybody does it. Yeah, you got some people who become influencers and who can make money off of whatever they're promoting and whatever they do, but that is rare. When you think about how many people are in the world, that is rare. It's not impossible, but it's rare. And so you got to think about, what is my talent? What is something I enjoy doing that is legal, something that is, you know, hopefully moral. But those things, when you figure out what that is and you find people like we got some great interviews. We got medical doctor, we got attorneys, we got an engineer right here in front of you. So you got some great people, and people who look like you. If you're an African-American male, right? People who look like you who are doing it, right? Learn from them. It's possible. You can do it. It's going to take some time, and you got to be patient and practice that patience.
Yeah, just don't ever discount your beginnings where you started. Don't ever, say, well, I can't make it from. You can make it from anywhere. You got to start somewhere. So don't ever discount your humble beginnings, because I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. It was more like a wooden spoon with plenty of splinters in my mouth. So don't ever discount your humble beginnings, because you never know, what your story is going to be. What that success story is going to be when you get to look back on, take an account of your life. Like, how did I get to this point? It's all part of the process, all part of the story. So, like Brandon said, people like Kevin Durant, they didn't just wake up and be Kevin Durant. They were working in the background when nobody was watching them. They was in the gym shooting, running, doing everything in the background. This is just the fruits of their labor that you're seeing now. And, one day, all of you guys are going to have a story to tell, and people going to see the fruits of your labor. What mark did you leave on life? And so just, like I said, just never discount your humble beginnings where you are right now, because where you start is not where you're going to finish. But that's really up to you, or what you want to do with your opportunity when it comes your way.
Yeah, and even if nobody knows your name like Kevin Durant, that's okay. You can still be impactful in this world. And there was a day when nobody knew who Kevin Durant was, right? Until he was in high school and eventually went to the University of Texas. But, it takes time to develop, to work on your craft. Like Maurice said earlier, develop your craft, work on it, get good at what you do, become an expert, or try your best to get to that point, to be an expert, and you'll be fine. As long as you're making our world a better place than leaving it better than you found it, you've done your job. And so when we talk about ambition, that's our last core value. So remember, I want y'all to remember this, the acronym IDEA, IDEA, integrity, discipline, education, and now we're finishing on ambition. And so we really believe that ambition should be aligned with strategy. So you got to have goals. When you're ambitious and you have goals for your life, you also got to have strategy and vision for your life. And those things should be aligned. So basically, if you say, I want to be an engineer like Maurice, okay, first I need to do some research and learn more about what that field and that industry is like, and how do I prepare to get there? And then if your actions do not line up with that, so if you're in school and you're failing all of your classes, your actions are not lining up with you wanting to be an engineer. But if you know that's your goal, it's going to be easier to overcome and avoid those distractions and temptations, because well, my goal is to become an engineer. And to do that, I need to take this class, I need to study, I need to find some friends in my class who have similar goals, who also want to do well in life. They may not want to be an engineer, but they also want to do well in life. And they have some great strategies for being an A-B student, or maybe an all-A student. And so with ambition, how have you set goals in your life and your career? And then what is some advice you would give our young men watching right now about being ambitious?
Sure. So when I first, started thinking about in 7th, 8th grade, what do I want to do with my life, from a professional standpoint, I always wanted to be an engineer. But I didn't always know what type of engineer I wanted to be. So, as Brandon said, I went and did some research on, what type of engineers are there? You have electrical, you have chemical, you have mechanical, you have civil, and things like that. So, I said, you know what? I think I might want to be a civil engineer. So I did my research. I looked up, what does a civil engineer do? And from that, I even asked my mother, that, can I go to a civil engineering firm and just, ask them questions to see what do they do? What do civil engineers do? And, I pretty much wrote down a plan, what did I want to be? I thought I wanted to be a civil engineer. I knew I wanted to be an engineer. So like I said, I did the research, actually taking time, going to a firm, things like that. And so the advice that I would give, you guys, are make a vision board. What is it that you want to do in life? Started like building a house, a foundation. You gotta have a foundation. So that foundation, okay, what steps, write down the plan. What steps do I need to take to get to the ultimate goal of being whatever you want to be in life? And so you want to just try to complete every level the best you can to get to where you want to be. And celebrate the small victories, the small successes that you have along the way, because it makes the journey a lot smoother when you see progress in anything you want to do. So it could be, like I said, for me when I was younger, it was picking up a phone book, because we don't have phone books now, but I picked up the yellow pages and actually call a engineering firm and say, hey, my name is Maurice Littlejohn. I want to be an engineer. Do you have time to talk with me? Let me come in and look at your firm, and see exactly what you guys do. Can I shadow you for a day? And they were shocked. It was like, yeah, sure. Because no one, no, you wouldn't expect a kid to ask a professional firm to say, hey, can I come in and job shadow? Because you think they're too busy. But I had enough ambition to say, okay, if this is something I want to do, what do I need to do? How can I see if this is what I want to do? And of course, I ended up going a different route, engineering, because like I said, I'm a packaging engineer. But still, it was the fact of the matter that I took that step to actually research what I want to do. So it's just like with all of us on the panel, look at what we do. If you have ambition to want to be an engineer or a doctor or lawyer or agent or anything, reach out to people, reach out. I think we all are probably accessible. If you can't reach out to one of us, reach out to someone in your local area. But just have that ambition to be a go-getter, for whatever you want to do in life.
Man, that was so awesome. Just the fact, guys that are watching right now, like if y'all didn't pick up anything he just said out of ambition, you better have picked up the fact that he said he reached out to them and said, can I come and watch what you do? And what he was probably able to do was to save some time. Let's say, you had gone to Clemson and you said, I want to major in this part of engineering. And then you found out later that you just really didn't like it. And so you wasted all this time and like, okay,
and money.
my degree is not useless, but it's like, I don't like this field anymore. And so because do you remember how old you were when you did that?
I was probably in 7th or 8th grade. So I had to be like maybe 12, 13 years old.
Wow.
So
God,
I was young.
Middle school, high school, right? This is where it is. Most districts do a job shadowing day where you have an excused absence where you can, fill out a form, contact local companies or whatever, and shadow. Like, take advantage of that. Don't think it's just for a certain type of person. It's available to anybody. And here's another thing too. Do integrity, doing the right thing, even though nobody's watching. Don't say, well, I'm just going to sign up for this job shadow so I can have an extra day out of school and do nothing. Like, you're not cheating the school. You're cheating yourself. Yep. Right? You're thinking you got a free day. That's not a free day. It's a wasted day. Time is something you can never get back. No matter how rich you are, you can't buy time, right? You cannot purchase you can't say, well, I'm going to buy about 10 more years of life. I wasted 10 years of life when I was a kid doing some stupid stuff, right? But I want to buy, you can't do that. So you can't think as a kid, I'm just going to waste, I'm just going to hang out with some guys, some friends and play Xbox or PS5 or whatever. No, use that to your advantage and go shadow somebody to see if that's really something I want to do. Because the sooner you know what you want to do, the more focused you can be. You're going to be laser focused on getting that accomplished. And even if you have to change a little bit like Maurice did, right? He's still in the same industry, but he was able to have he had more clarity on what he wanted to do and more focus. So, man, that's awesome, man. That's exactly why. And guys, the people that I invited to the conference this year, I have some type of relationship with them. Either I know them directly or I know somebody else who knows them. And all of the people who agreed to spend time talking to you, these guys got families and businesses, but they're like, look, absolutely, I want to do it. They wanted to share this information with you. This is specifically for you, and we want you to use it. We don't want you to just think we're just some guys talking to you like usual. Take something we've said today, learn from it, apply it, and grow, right? Yeah. We talk about seeds of wisdom. That's the whole purpose of this organization. You plant a seed, you give it the nutrients and the sunlight, the water, the environment. And then as it grows and matures, this goes into our conference theme. You're standing tall, you're standing firm. You cannot easily be swayed. And so before we get ready to go, and we get ready to wrap this up, and it's been awesome talking to you, Maurice, and sharing this with the guys who are watching right now. But can you just say what that conference theme means to you when it says stand tall and stand firm?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like I said, thank you for inviting me to this panel discussion. I mean, it's awesome to be able to impart some wisdom to a young man's life. You know, hopefully I was able to reach someone with the words I've said through my experiences. But you know, just standing firm, standing tall. Like I said, someone invested in me when I was younger, when I was your age, and this is my way. This is one of my ways of helping to give back, because hopefully one day you guys will be in my seat or be in Brandon's seat or any other panel discussions seats and be able to give back, you know, to stand tall, say, hey, I was once where you were. I was in a situation like you were, but I didn't let that situation determine my outcome. So standing tall through all the adversity that you may see in life, because you're gonna see adversity. There's gonna be some good days, there's gonna be some bad days, but you gotta stand firm, you gotta stand tall. You can't back down, you can't run away from life, because life is gonna be here. If you wake up every day, hey, that's a blessing, and you gotta face the day. You can't run away from it. So just stand tall, know that you have people that are rooting for you. You got people on the sidelines cheering for you. You got your own cheering session. But the thing is, you gotta be self-motivated, standing tall, be motivated to be successful in life. Leave your mark. Don't let one day be a wasted day, but attack every day uh, with the energy that you're gonna win the day. You're gonna win every day, because I guarantee you, if you don't win it, somebody else is gonna win it, and you don't want that to happen. You want to be the winner every day. Every day is a competition to be the best you can do. You always want to. I'm not saying you gotta be the best, but you want to give your best. Always give your best. And so just take everything that you've learned today, all the information we've given you, and don't let it fall on a deaf ear. Don't throw these seeds of wisdom away, but take these seeds of wisdom, plant them in your heart, and get rooted. Get rooted in everything you do. Be great where you're planted, is what I'll say. Be great where you're planted, and just watch how God can move in your life. You know, how people who you're surrounded around, who they can pour into you. We're all pouring into you guys because we want to see you successful. We don't want to see you on the other end of the spectrum, the other statistic to say, what young black men can be, where we can be. We want to see you guys in boardrooms, running businesses, being great husbands, great fathers, be great role models. So that's what I take from standing strong, not being moved.
Man, I couldn't have said that better myself, and that's why I know you're one of the perfect people, the best choices to have with us this year to share from your experiences. And you shared so much today, and I couldn't have said that part better myself. So I really appreciate that. And before we wrap up and go, this stuff cannot work. This is not even possible without people who are sponsors, who support our work and make this possible for us to record this and get this to you. So I want to thank Ag First Farm Credit Bank of Columbia, South Carolina. I want to thank Kingdom Solutions, and also want to thank Modern Woodman Fraternal Financial. Those companies said, look, we believe in what you're doing. We support the work to impact the communities that you guys serve. And we want to donate to you so you can do these things. You can get resources out to young men, because if we get resources to you now, then we see that ROI, that return on investment later, because you're going to be a great impact on society. You're going to be productive citizens, right? You're going to be those boys who develop into young men who create a better tomorrow. That's a part of our vision, is to see you guys right now, your boys, young men, develop into men who will create that better tomorrow, because you're using these principles, these core values of integrity, discipline, education, ambition. So as we wrap up, Maurice, thank you again for being with us tonight. Guys, thank you so much for watching and spending the time to make it through this entire video. Go back and listen to it again, watch it again, take some notes, talk to another friend about it. And that's how we make this world a better place. All right, so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.